Good evening and welcome to the University of St. Francis Fighting Saints Soccer. Today the Saints take on the Judson Eagles in the home finale of this 2022 season. St. Francis comes in needing a win today against a Judson team that has had a very up and down season so far this year. Terry Bonadonna with you on the call for tonight's contest. We're going to get things started in just a moment. Teams are out there and just about ready to get going. St. Francis wearing white and gold. They're going from left to right here in the first half and shooting into the south goal. Judson in navy blue going from right to left, shooting into the north goal. Both of these teams could use a win in the final week of the regular season, trying to cinch their spot in the CCAC tournament. We are underway. St. Francis on the defensive end starts to work their way forward across midfield. Now a fight for the ball at midfield. I'll give you the starting lineups in just a moment as the Fighting Saints try to make a quick attack. Judson's able to keep the ball alive at midfield for them. That's Inigo Capayan passing it back to the defensive end. Let's take a look at the starters for Judson. It's Adrian Bravo, Rafael Roca, Martin Weinstein, Pedro Botello, Mateus Duarte, Pablo Escobar, Gabriel Bastos, Samuel Chavez, Inigo Capayan, Daryl Hale, and in net, Lucas Sala. I'll give you the numbers on Sala in just a few moments. Let's look through the starters for St. Francis first. Sebastian Morales gets the start today. Morales, typically a backup goalkeeper. We'll get back to this in a second as the Saints make a little bit of a run, and it is halted quickly by the Judson defense and forced out of bounds. Tonight being the final regular season home match for the Saints, it is senior night. And so head coach Stan Cross has made sure to get all four of his departing seniors in the lineup today. That includes Morales, who is typically a backup goalkeeper today. He is up in the forward position as a foul is called on Judson. Deep in their own territory. Free kick coming up for the Fighting Saints, just 20 yards out, off near the right sideline. Anders Santa Marta steps up, and he'll be the man taking the kick here. St. Francis trying to strike first today. Santa Marta's kick is headed up in the air and away from the defense by Samuel Chavez. Well played by Chavez. And the free kick does not lead anywhere for the Fighting Saints. The rest of the starters for St. Francis today include Anders Santa Marta, who we just met on that free kick, Pablo Alvarez, Daniel Simon, Anthony Durka, Leonardo Haro, one of the other seniors in the lineup today, along with Mariano Caturba, who is the other. Jesus Flores is in the lineup with Andres Villa and Sergio Fernandez Orango. The goalkeeper, as usual for the Fighting Saints, is Carson Hegland. Samuel Chavez will try to give him a test here as he passes into Weinstein, and Weinstein loses the ball, chases it back down, taken away, though, by the Fighting Saints. Trying to make a push forward. Morales has it at midfield, and a foul is called on Judson. Carson Hegland is starting for the 13th time this year. In his previous 12 games, he's allowed 18 goals, an average of 1.5 per contest. He's made 50 saves. Good for a .735 save percentage. He's got 3 shutouts so far this year. Man who's starting in net for Judson today is Lucas Sala, who is starting just his second game of the year. Made 2 saves and did not allow a goal in his first outing this season. So 1-0 record, 1 shutout, 1,000 save percentage. Let's see if the Saints can put a shot on him right here. Doesn't look like it. Nice defensive stand by Judson. They keep the ball out of harm's way for the time being. Going the other way here. Judson gets the call in their direction just over 3 minutes into the action. Free kick here for the Eagles. On an unpleasant Tuesday evening in Joliet. Rain is falling, although not very hard at the moment. In fact, looks like even that light rain may have stopped just over the last couple of minutes. I'm sure it'll be back. It'll be raining off and on throughout the game today. It's chilly. There's a stiff breeze. So the worst conditions I think that we've seen here at St. Francis this year for a match. Judson's going to get the throw in here from the near sideline, just across midfield. Just on the positive side for them, Samuel Chavez will do the throwing. Tossed into Wainstein. Wainstein turns, faces the net, takes a shot, deflected towards the back line. Carson Hegland keeps it in bounds. Nice shot by Hegland. I think it was Leonardo Haro who initially deflected the shot, and his deflection ensured that it was not going to go in, but it would have been out of bounds on St. Francis. Would have been a corner kick if Hegland had not reached over to his left and stopped it. So nice play by Hegland, not only to prevent the corner kick, but to make sure that there were no strikers bearing down on him that could have taken that ball and sent it into the open net when he vacated the area. Here's Chavez. Chavez makes a move around Haro. Now the cross is headed away. Judson's got control once again. This is Capellan. Capellan's pass in the direction of Wainstein is pushed out of harm's way by the Fighting Saints. St. Francis came into play today with an overall record of 6-7-2, 4-5-1 in conference, so they're trying to get back to the 500 mark, both in the CCAC and overall. They were there with back-to-back wins over Trinity International and Trinity Christian, but their loss on Saturday against St. Xavier dropped them back below 500 in both cases. Come into play today with 13 points on the conference season, which is tied for 8th in the CCAC. Top 8 teams do make it in. So as of today, they're completely knotted up with St. Xavier for that last spot in the conference tournament, which begins next week. Nice defense by the Fighting Saints, but Judson gets it back. It's Rafael Roca. Roca's ball is taken away. Here comes St. Francis once again. Deflected out of bounds by Sebastian Morales. Judson is a little bit ahead of St. Francis in the conference standings. In fact, they're one spot ahead of them. 7th place in the CCAC at the start of play today, an overall record of 6-5-4. They're 5-2-3 in conference, 18 points. It's been a weird up and down season for the Eagles. Pushed down the sideline, and Judson's Mateus Duarte just lets it roll out of bounds. Thrown back in by the Eagles. Darryl Hale passes off to his right, and they play it along the far side. Eagles did not win any of their first 8 matches this season. They tied 4 of them, so it's not as though they're playing horribly, but 0-4-4 in their first 8, and then all of a sudden they got in a conference play and they went off. They won 6 consecutive matches over the course of about 3 weeks. Knocked out of bounds once again by the Saints here on the near side. They weren't barely scraping by teams either. They beat Indiana Northwest 5-1. They beat Trinity Christian 5-1. 5-0 against Calumet College of St. Joseph. They won a non-conference game against Waldorf 6-1. That was just last week. And then all of a sudden, their 6-match winning streak came crashing to a halt. This past Saturday, they went to take on Cardinal Stritch. Cardinal Stritch has been good this year, and they showed it against Judson up in Milwaukee. They defeated the Eagles 7-0. Worst loss of the season by far for Judson, who had previously not lost by more than 3 goals in any contest. They were outshot in that game 23-1. Out of bounds on Judson here. The Saints get a throw in from the positive side of midfield. Daniel Simon will throw it in. He steps up, lobs it forward, headed in the air by Duarte. Ball loose and tracked down by Rafael Roca. Here come the Eagles, moving from right to left. Stopping just short of the midfield stripe. Pablo Escobar passes off to his left side. Here's Roca on the attack. Roca weaves it through. Into the box. The shot goes wide to the right from Samuel Chavez. Chavez apparently just barely stayed on sides on that pass. Brought it in really good position to score the first goal of the game. He ended up pushing it just a little bit wide to the right. So the first serious scoring threat today belongs to Judson, but we remain scoreless. Almost 10 full minutes in now. Judson back in control. Chavez waits back on that ball, plays it on a bounce, rolls it to himself on the right side. Chavez working down the near side, passes it back to Roca. Rafael Roca takes a few dribbles to the right. He takes a shot and scores. Pass to diving Carson Hegland. Judson strikes first. Just into the 11th minute, it's Rafael Roca from a long ways out. That was over 30 yards away. Freed himself up in the middle of the field. I don't know if Hegland was maybe shielded by a couple of defenders that were between Roca and the net, but he reacted a little bit slowly to it. It was a good shot. And there's a shot from St. Francis, and they nearly tied it up off the post. Chavez will try to get rid of it as Sergio Fernandez-Arango tries to follow up the shot with another attempt, knocked out of bounds, and out to Judson. Great shot from Rafael Roca to give his team a 1-0 lead, and then almost as quickly, St. Francis tries to come back and tie it unsuccessfully. Fernandez-Arango is tripped to the ground. No call as play goes on. Throw in for Judson. Far sideline, just across midfield. Passed back to the defense. Knocked ahead by Bastos. Now Daryl Hale starts to make his move for the Eagles. Hale rolls it out in front of himself to Pablo Escobar. And knocked backwards, but a foul called on St. Francis. Free kick here for Judson. The Eagles are off to a much better offensive start today than they were on Saturday. It's worth noting that in that game against Cardinal Stritch that they lost 7-0 on Saturday. They were playing with only 10 players. They had one of their players suffer an ejection due to 2 yellow cards just in the first 10 minutes. So by this stage of the game, they were already at a one-man disadvantage. Today playing even-handed. They're putting a lot of pressure on the St. Francis defense early. Roll to the outside. There's a shot that goes a little bit high. Set up again by Rafael Roca. Roca and Samuel Chavez have both been strong with the ball to start today's match out. There's a whistle. It's going to go St. Francis's way this time. Judson sets up a goal kick, and they play it very short. St. Francis's offense kind of creeping in a little bit. Judson is kicking into the wind right now. The wind is maybe not at this exact moment as strong as it's been for much of the evening as the goalkeeper Salas steps up and makes the stop there. But it is blowing pretty consistently into the faces of the Eagles. So I think that's why they've been tending to go short on their kicks from the defensive ends. The foul is called on St. Francis, rather than trying to push all the way downfield. Ball is set up for Judson's kick here. Knocked back the other way quickly by the Fighting Saints. Back at midfield. It is controlled by Roca. Tapped back to Chavez. Daryl Hall, back on the defensive end, loses the ball. It's taken away by Anders Santamarta. Santamarta works his way forward. His shot deflected towards the back line. Kept in bounds by Adrian Bravo. He works it ahead to Daryl Hall, and Hall is able to clear it, at least for the moment, out of harm's way. Nice stop by Adrian Bravo. Narrowly missed a handball as well. Handball in the box would have led to a penalty kick. But he's able to stop it with the body as that shot deflected by the Fighting Saints. Martin Weinstein took a shot at it. Interception by St. Francis, pushed ahead. Passed back by Gabriel Bastos. Over to Mateus Duarte. Duarte plays it slowly on the defensive end. Back across to Adrian Bravo. 3 defenders working back and forth despite some pressure. Sergio Fernandez-Arango very aggressive on offense, but Judson keeps their possession alive until they cross midfield, deflected, and sent back to the Judson defense. This is Roca. Rafael Roca, the senior from Brazil, has been all over the field. Capeon is tripped up by Pablo Alvarez. No foul called. Capeon out of the play for a little bit, so St. Francis was playing with a man advantage essentially for about 20 seconds, but he's back up and involved. And the ball is knocked out of bounds for a Judson throw-in the attacking third of the field. More than 15 minutes into the first half. Judson leads by a goal. They scored it in the 11th minute. Along the sideline, pushed towards Capeon at the edge of the box. Taken away by the St. Francis defense. They start to make their way down the field, but in a hurry, Judson is able to take it away once again. Passed over to the near sideline. This is Mateus Duarte. Duarte pressured a little bit by Mariano Caturba. Passes off to his right. This is Duarte over to Roca. Roca rolls it across midfield. Dribbles to his left, up along that sideline. Centers it slightly. Pulled back out towards Chavez. Roca's pass to Chavez intercepted by Leonardo Haro and rolled back over to Carson Hegland, who kicks it across midfield. On a few bounces, it trickles its way down to the far sideline. Sergio Fernandez-Arango keeps it in bounds. Fernandez-Arango looks for the shot, and he sends it right into the belly of Lucas Sala, who's able to wrap it up and make the save. Sala's made a couple of saves today. He's been good so far in net. Still early, but he's got a shutout going so far and a 1-goal lead, having kept St. Francis off the board despite a few serious pressures, including that last one. Here's Duarte. Duarte rolls it past one defender, can't get by the second. Here's Anders Santamarta. Dribbling to the right, Anthony Durka keeps the play alive. Durka against 2 defenders, pulls it back, forced to the ground, and no foul. Both teams had guys taken to the ground during that last sequence. No fouls called either way. They're letting them play right now. A physical first half. Down to the back line, and the offsides flag is up. Offsides called against Judson. I believe that's their first. One nothing lead for the visiting Eagles. A loss today for St. Francis wouldn't necessarily knock them out of the CCAC tournament race, but it wouldn't help. Saints are tied with St. Xavier. They've got 2 games to go, including this one. It's their final home game of the season. They will be this weekend up where Judson was last weekend, playing at Cardinal Stritch, who is currently in 2nd place in the conference. Roca dribbles his way into the middle of the field. His pass drifts out a little bit too far in front of Martin Weinstein. Cleared by the Fighting Saints to the sideline and out of bounds. Diego Cortez and William Martinez are standing by the sideline right now, getting set to come in for the Fighting Saints. Presumably Caturba and Morelis will come out, a couple of guys who don't typically start. but are doing so today because it's senior night. And Dan Cross might go with his more conventional lineup the rest of the way. Ball is thrown in by Chavez to Capellain. Out of bounds again, a throw in to the Eagles. Roca dribbles his way up the middle of the field. Roca, nice ball work, but can't complete the pass at the end of the play. And Carson Heglin sends it downfield to Sebastian Morales. Durka tries to get it off to Fernandez Arango, but he pushes it too far towards the sideline and out of bounds. Fernandez Arango not able to make a run in that direction. Throw in for Judson. Nice steal initially by Anthony Durka. Good aggressive play. Wasn't able to keep possession, but it was knocked out by Judson, so the Saints will continue to move forward as Cortez and Martinez do indeed check in for Caturba and Martinez. Caturba and Morales, that is. Martinez and Cortez are the two players who have come in. Free kick here for the Fighting Saints, 30 yards out. Far side of the field, just inside the sideline. Kick is taken by Santa Marta in front of the net, headed out of bounds. Goal kick for Judson. The Eagles are on the board early today. It's got to feel good for them coming off of a game on Saturday in which they were shut out. To jump on the board in the first 10 or so minutes in this one gives them the big advantage as it's chipped over the net and out of bounds. Ender Santa Marta tried to put that one towards the net. Missed it high. Goal kick here for Judson. The kick is initially won by the Fighting Saints on the first touch. Cortez wins the battle for the ball with Roca, but the win comes at a cost of a foul, so Roca gets the free kick. He uses it to play backwards to the defense, letting the Eagles play it up from the back line. Here's Darrell Hale rolling to the outside. St. Francis is putting a lot of pressure on this defense, not giving them any easy passes, and the Fighting Saints take it away. Martinez taps it back to Cortez, or Cortez sends it over the crossbar and out of bounds. No deflection there, so we'll see a goal kick. But Cortez shows a good kick on the shot. Can't quite put it on goal, a little bit too high. But the pressure is remaining on this Judson defense as we cross the halfway point here in the first. Pablo Alvarez pushes it to the sideline. Saints keep possession, only briefly, as it's rolled forward and intercepted by the back line of Judson. Downfield for the Eagles, stretching to the near sideline and kept in bounds by Chavez, but a good slide tackle takes it away. Good defense by Daniel Simon. St. Francis unable to maintain possession. Here's Capellain. And another good steal by St. Francis. Pushed into the box. There's a trip. Another chance for St. Francis, but offsides is called against Sergio Fernandez Arango. The Saints are playing hard offensively after, like Judson, they were shut out this Saturday. Just a 1-0 loss for the Fighting Saints. But nobody likes to get shut out twice in a row. Nobody likes to get shut out once, but certainly after doing it on Saturday, there's even more motivation than usual to get on the board today, and the Fighting Saints, particularly Sergio Fernandez Arango, have been very energetic on offense, very aggressive. Haven't been able to turn it into a score yet. Weinstein passes it back. He was looking for Bastos. Too far behind him, but there were no Saints there either, so Judson is able to control possession from the defensive end. Sala sends it down the right side of the field. Ball loose over on the left side now. Pushed ahead to Samuel Chavez. Chavez's ball is intercepted and cleared by Alvarez. At midfield. Kick ahead to Capian. Stays on sides. Capian trying to work around the defender. Turns, and Alvarez holds his ground. Good defense all the way there by Pablo Alvarez, preventing Judson from getting a shot off. Now a foul called against the Fighting Saints. Rafael Roca, the team captain, went down momentarily. But he's up. He's going to take the free kick. Roca's kick is deflected 15 feet in front of the net. Sent towards the sideline. Out of bounds off of Judson. St. Francis's offense was clicking prior to their last contest. They had scored 9 goals over their previous 3 games, 2 of which were wins. The other was a draw. 3 goals in all 3 of them. Deflected to the back line. And we're going the other way with it. 3 goals in 3 straight games, then that streak ended on Saturday when they were held to nothing. And now here they are today, almost a half hour in. Still nothing on the scoreboard, so they're trying to get the offense back to the position that it was in about a week ago at this time. Back at midfield, St. Francis tries to win possession away from Roca. It's knocked out of bounds, and Roca was the last one to touch it. Well played by Martinez there. And the Fighting Saints get a throw in on the near side of the field. Simon steps up. Lobs it off of a Judson defender and out of bounds. Last touched by Mateus Duarte. Nope, it was off St. Francis, sorry. Diego Cortez was the last one to get it. Tap to the sideline. Cortez can't keep it in bounds. Flores back to Leonardo Haro. Fighting Saints reverse field. That's Andres Villa touching it up to Anthony Durka. Durka back to Villa, and Villa kicks it out of bounds. Judson had a flurry of activity right out of the gate today. They scored the goal just 10 minutes in. Since then, they've been a little bit quieter. I don't think they've changed their style of play at all. St. Francis has maybe stepped up the defense a bit. Although Judson, who draws the foul here, has had some good runs on the net. Haven't finished any of them off since that first goal, but they haven't completely ceded possession to the Fighting Saints. St. Francis has had more time with the ball, certainly, than the Eagles have, since that goal was scored almost 20 minutes ago. Roca takes the free kick. Right down the middle of the field. Brought in the box. The shot is taken by Pedro Botello, and it's knocked out of bounds by Carson Hegland. Hagelin makes the diving save. Botello looked like he was being set up for a good shot and then wasn't able to control the ball initially. Had to take an extra dribble or two, but he ended up getting a good shot off anyway. And Hagelin makes an even better save to keep the score where it is at 1-0 Judson. Eagles have a corner kick here. Let's see if they can make it 2-0 Judson. Not on that particular play. Hagelin jumps right in front of everybody and makes the catch on that. Pair of St. Francis players on the run. Good through ball. Maybe a little bit too far out in front of Cortez. He couldn't pull it in. Cortez knocks it off of Pablo Escobar out of bounds. Flores, rather. This is Flores on the sideline, and Flores dribbles it out of bounds. Tossed in on the sideline. Alvarez pushes ahead to Durka. Durka turns and gives it back to Pablo Alvarez. Alvarez loses the ball. Good challenge right there from Inigo Capellan. Can't turn it into a run on the other end, even though Saints only had 2 men back at the start of that play. They were still able to come up with a stop defensively. Simon touches it to the outside. Flores has the ball taken away by Duarte. Far side now. Andres Villa works hard against Pedro Botello, and ultimately Villa knocks it off of Botello and out of bounds. Good play by Andres Villa, one of many sophomore starters on this team. Senior night today, we saw 4 seniors get honored before the game. The ball is sent away here by Judson without having to pick it up. Another fight for possession. Another win for Roca. Roca's got it set up in the near corner, trying to get around Flores. He ends up stumbling and falling, and it's knocked out of bounds by St. Francis. Fighting Saints had just 4 seniors on the roster. The majority of their starting lineup is made out of sophomores. 7 of the 11 are in their second year at the school. So it's a very young team. All 4 of the seniors today did get the start. Mariano Caturba and Sebastian Morelos have both since checked out. Carson Hegland and Leonardo Haro are still out there. Hegland has started most of the games in goal this year. Morelos is his backup in goal. But today, he can't start 2 goalies. He stepped up and played forward for the first 20 minutes before Dan Cross went to the bench. Another man down for St. Francis. Again, no whistle as Chavez tries to slide to keep that in bounds. And apparently is not successful. So a throw in for St. Francis. Taken away by Capellan. Capellan shot well wide to the right. I don't think that was deflected. Everybody's turning around for the goal kick, so it was not. Just not at a great angle to get a shot off there. Well, that was from a pretty similar spot to where they did score their first goal of the day. That one on a missile from 30-plus yards out. It's all about turning your body, though, to make sure you're at the right angle to take the shot. Fighting Saints will get a free kick here. Simon comes racing up. He can't reach it. And one right in between Simon and Cortez. Simon ran up. Cortez did not go back, and it ended up trickling out of bounds right between the defender and the forward. So Judson works their way down the field a little bit at a time by throw-ins, stepping the ball up out of bounds when they're ready to throw. Carson Hegland takes the kick from the penalty box right at the edge of it, sends it across midfield. Headed back the other way by Judson. They're at midfield line right now. Rolled ahead for Hale. Hale taps it forward, trying to get it to Wainstein. The ball was rolling a little bit too fast for Wainstein to catch up with it. There's a good steal by St. Francis defensively. Forced out of bounds by Flores after he had tackled that ball away. Throw in for Judson. Chavez right down the sideline and intercepted again by the Fighting Saints. Push downfield. Fernandez Arango has a long way to go. Can he keep it in bounds? Looks like he can. Yep, he gets to it before it rolls all the way out. Fernandez Arango trying to set up a shot. Passes. There is the shot from Anders Santamarta, and it's too high over the net. Perfect setup from Sergio Fernandez Arango there. He had to run a long way to keep that ball in bounds. It was a good pass as well. And Santamarta just couldn't quite straighten it out. Dylan Frank checks in for the most recent shooter. Santamarta heads to the bench for a little while. Frank makes a relatively rare appearance. Sophomore from New Lenox. It's a foul on Judson. Hale was using his hands a little bit too much there. Grabbing Fernandez Arango the whole way. So Daryl Hale is called for the foul. Under 9 minutes to play in the first half. A chance to tie the score. This is Leonardo Haro taking the kick. He's 25 yards out, just to the left of the net. There's the whistle. His kick is too high, off the football crossbar, so a few feet over the goal. Lucas Sala made a leaping effort for it, but needn't have. It was out of his reach. Cross midfield, this time on the goal kick. Here's Roca. Rafael Roca spins to his left. Has it deflected out of bounds. Deflected out that time by Diego Cortez. 1-0, Judson leads. They scored 10 minutes in. It's been relatively quiet since then. Both teams have had their opportunities. St. Francis has had a few better chances than Judson has, but have not been able to cash them in. Getting ready for their third consecutive scoreless half of soccer to end. They don't want to end it that way. They've still got 7 minutes to try to put something on the board here. But it has been a while since they scored after they got shut out in their most recent contest. They didn't play last week. So the last time they scored a goal was way back on October the 15th, 10 days ago. They did score that goal in the final seconds of their match against Trinity Christian. So you can determine how long this scoring drought is almost exactly from the start of last game. Clock stops with an injured man for Judson. Haven't gotten a good look yet at who that is. He went down a few seconds earlier on the play, and the official waited until St. Francis no longer had the ball to blow it dead. It's Rafael Roca, who has pulled himself up into the sitting position after he had been lying on his back. He's up and walking now, escorted by trainer towards the sideline. So he makes his way off the field. And once he is off, we'll be able to resume play here. 6:42 to play in the first half. Carson Hegland is handed the ball, and he restarts things. Bouncing down to the backside of the field. A sliding play made by Gabriel Bastos to knock it out of bounds on the sideline. No corner kick for the Fighting Saints. They'll settle for a corner throw-in. Dylan Frank takes his running start as he lobs that high arcing pass into the box. Into a big jumble of people, Judson is able to get it out of harm's way. Knock it out the sideline on the far end of the field. Another throw in here for the Fighting Saints. Another running start, another high arcing throw into the box. Players for both sides go up with their heads. Andres Villa tries to keep play alive for St. Francis. Tipping it to the backside. It is cleared by Inigo Capellan. Good run is stopped, deflected by Simon towards the goalkeeper. Hegland picks it up. Martin Weinstein. Had a nice individual run there. Couldn't finish it off. Too many defenders in the way. Martinez touches this ball out of bounds. Judson will get the throw in. Late in the first half. We're 40 minutes in. Kick downfield for Judson. Down to the back corner. Cleared for the moment by Leo Haro. At midfield, Bastos works his way across. Pass back. Stepping up from the goalkeeper's position, Lucas Sala with 1 foot outside the penalty area. Steps up and clears it. St. Francis tries to quickly return the ball the other direction, but nice work by Judson to keep them off the ball, away from possession. Throw in for the Eagles here. They're not exactly stalling right now, but they seem to be playing a little bit more defensively since they took that 1-goal lead pretty early in the first half. Down the middle of the field. Cleared there by Mateus Duarte. Out of bounds for a St. Francis throw. To the far side, Villa is able to push it down the sideline. Eventually that does roll out. Hugged the line for a long time, but ultimately did fade over that line. Throw in here for Judson right at midfield. Back to the far side. Held in bounds by Escobar. Escobar tries to pass it into the box. Nobody there. Judson remains on the attack. There's a cross that drifts over everybody's heads and knocked out of bounds. Out the back line. So it's a goal kick here for the Fighting Saints. Hegland gets it across midfield once again. Headed back. Trying to get it to Sergio Fernandez Arango, the lone man up right now for St. Francis. They were not able to access him there. Throw in for the Saints. Tossed in by Villa. And another whistle that will favor the Fighting Saints. Right along the sideline here and directly at midfield. Villa rolls it back into the middle, going from left to right. St. Francis finally makes a move forward, and it's intercepted by Judson. Good run here by Sammy Chavez. Chavez has it tackled away from him by a sliding Pablo Alvarez. Good defense from Alvarez. Back to the offensive side. Does St. Francis have it in them to tie this thing up before halftime? If they do, it's going to happen. It's going to have to come very quickly as they get the free kick here and use it to their advantage to restart play very hurriedly. Bounced down the sideline and finally pushed beyond that line by Judson. Late first half, Saints looking for the equalizer. Fernandez Arango's shot deflected by Darryl Hall before it can even get to the goalkeeper. Lucas Salas made a couple of good saves here in the first half, but by and large, he's been saved by his defense. Not a lot of shots on goal so far. Saints were trying to get one right there, but it was knocked out of bounds along the back line, so they'll get a corner kick here, and they're going to have to operate this corner kick relatively quickly just to make sure they have enough time to even get a shot off. Clock is running down. Jesus Flores will take the kick, and this corner kick will effectively end the first half, whether it's a goal or whether it's a clearance or whatever. Down to our final 10 seconds. Flores sends it in, back post, headed in front of the net, and picked off by Lucas Sala. So it's halftime. The Fighting Saints trail by a 1-0 score, tried to tie it up going into the intermission, but they were unsuccessful as Judson's defense held strong. Judson scored an early goal. It's held up to this point, 45 minutes down, 45 still to go. I'll be back in about 15 minutes to bring you all of the second half action right here on the USF Sports Network. The second half is just moments away here between St. Francis and Judson at Joliet Memorial Stadium. Down on Busey Bank Field, the Fighting Saints will get the first kick of the second half. The gold and white heading right to left now for the second stanza of today's game. Judson and navy blue going from left to right the rest of the way. Actually, the wind is probably more favorable to Judson now than it was in the first half, so they were very fortunate. I shouldn't say fortunate, they earned it, but it was a very good result for them that they took the 1-0 lead into halftime, because now you'd think they would have a little bit of an advantage, although the weather hasn't been as much of a factor as I thought it would be coming in. It really has not rained at all. It was raining consistently for about 6 consecutive hours and then stopped maybe 30 seconds before this game started. And it's been relatively dry since then. Rain will likely come back at some point during the match, but it's not raining at the moment. Still cool, still breezy, but the weather's not as bad now as it was 2 hours ago. Probably a lot rougher for the players on the bench right now. The guys who are out there, it's not too cold, so it's really not a bad night to be staying that active as the Saints send it into the box. It's headed away by Judson. 1-0 the Eagles lead. They scored a goal 10 minutes in. Officially in the 11th minute. It was 10 minutes and 4 seconds into the action that the Eagles got their goal. Came from Rafael Roca, assisted by Samuel Chavez. It was Roca's 7th goal of the season for Judson. Saints defense clears it here. Roca's second on the team with his 7 goals. Chavez picked up his 7th assist, which places him first on the team in assists and second in overall points with 19 of them. Chavez got the assist, but it was Roca's shot that was so impressive. He took one dribble to his right and then fired it in the left corner of the net, just out of the reach of a diving Carson Hegland. He put it in from over 30 yards out. Sent into the box here by the Fighting Saints. Tapped towards the sideline by Adrian Bravo. Judson gets the stop for now. St. Francis is trying to keep the pressure on. Anders Santa Marta is involved with Rafael Roca, and Santa Marta is called for the foul, forcing Roca to the ground. You can sense the urgency that St. Francis is playing with here today. It's not a must-win game for their chances at getting into the CCAC tournament, but it's close to it with just 2 games remaining. Came into today tied with St. Xavier, who beat them 1-0 on Saturday. St. Xavier is tied at halftime in their match with Cardinal Stritch, 0-0. If you're a fan of St. Francis, you kind of have to like that matchup, just because Cardinal Stritch has been so tough to beat lately, and you can ask Judson about that if you have any doubts about it. The Wolfpack beat, or the Wolves rather, beat Judson 7-0 just a few days ago. But that's all the more reason that today's such a big game for St. Francis. Chipped into the box. There's a shot from Fernandez Arango and saved by Lucas Sala. Sala in the first half made 3 saves. 3 shots total on goal from St. Francis. They had 10 shots overall. Judson had 7 shots in the first half. 2 of them were on goal. Carson Hegland made 1 save to go along with the goal that was scored. But the reason I mentioned that Cardinal Stritch playing well makes today's game even more important for St. Francis is because the Fighting Saints have to play Cardinal Stritch this weekend. You don't ever want to count on a game being a loss in advance, but certainly looking at the schedule coming in as Sergio Fernandez Arango dribbles into the box. He takes a shot, deflected by Sala, but it's into the net. And a goal for Sergio Fernandez Arango to tie it up at 1. Great setup by Sergio Fernandez Arango, dribbled it into the box, took a shot to the right corner. Lucas Sala made a diving attempt for it. He got his hands on the ball, but was only able to deflect it slightly, not quite enough to prevent it from going in. And Sergio Fernandez Arango has his team-leading 8th goal of the season. Big moment for it to tie up the score right here. 1-1 with just about 41 minutes to play. It's out of bounds for a St. Francis throw-in. Just to finish the thought from before the goal, you came into this week looking at the schedule, games at home against Judson and then on the road at Cardinal Stritch. You would definitely say that today was the more winnable of the two games, knowing that you're probably going to need to win at least one of them to secure a top 8 spot in the tournament. This would be a good one to win. At least get 1 point on a draw into the box, and I think a foul called on St. Francis here, going a little too high with that kick. Clock stops. The official is talking with Gabriel Bastos. Not sure what the nature of that was, but the clock is up and running once again. We play on, tied 1-1. A draw would be big again for St. Francis, just getting that 1 point. Win would be bigger. For Judson, if they do get the draw here, that would lock them into the conference tournament. They need at least one more point. They are susceptible to being passed up in the conference standings if they lose their last 2 matches against St. Francis and then this weekend against St. Xavier. They would have to lose both. Both of those teams, St. Francis and St. Xavier, would have to win both in order to knock them out, as Carson Heglin makes the save on the Bastos shot. Second save of the night for Heglin. That one didn't force him to move his feet very much. He was in position and just smothered the ball as it came in. Just 6 minutes into the second half. A lot of action already. A goal is on the board. St. Francis has tied it up at 1. And now Judson trying for the response, but the Saints take it away on defense. To the sideline, Andres Villa chases it down, but it's out of bounds. Thrown quickly back in by Judson. Wainstein in possession of it here. Wainstein looking for the cross, dribbles into the box, rolls it forward, and Heglin dives on top of it. Wainstein was trying to set up Inigo Capean, and a little bit too far out in front of Capean, allowed Heglin to reach it before the Judson striker could. Foul is called on the Fighting Saints. Quick kick from Judson as Roca rolls it off to his left side. Pass back behind midfield. They'll play from the defensive end here. Bravo rolls it into the circle to Hale. Hale gives it right back. On the near side, Villa working closely with Pablo Escobar. Escobar wins that battle as Villa knocks it out of bounds. Here's Capean. Back over to Hale. Hale taps it to his right. Gives it up to Escobar. Well defended there. So it was knocked out of bounds by Anthony Durka. Judson remains in possession, but only briefly. Anders Santamarta takes it away. Sent down the field for Fernandez Arango. Fernandez Arango is a speedster. Took a bit of an awkward angle at that ball, though, so he couldn't reach it in time. Judson's defense was able to come through with the knockout, so it's out of bounds. Still St. Francis possession here, but that allows Judson's defense to get back into position as it's poked out of bounds once again. There's the cross and intercepted. Stepped up, Flores knocks it downfield and into the hands of the waiting Lucas Sala. So a relatively easy stop that time for Sala as the Saints put the pressure on the Eagles once again, but come up empty. St. Francis takes it away once more here. It's Durka passing off to his right. Here's Cortez, Diego Cortez from long range. Sends it over the net and out of bounds. you could see any ball that's hitting that direction is kind of being held up by the wind a little bit. I was about to say, shooting this way, if you're Diego Cortez, you're probably not looking for a shot from that far out because it's probably going to get held up, not have a lot of force on it going towards the net. But as I was starting to say that, I remember that's the same spot, actually a little further out than that, where the goal was scored in the first half from Judson. Rafael Roca shot into the wind. It was a missile off the leg of Roca, but probably the most important thing for him, it was very low to the ground. He didn't have a lot of air under it, so he didn't have a chance to let the wind stop it. Nice takeaway by Fernandez Arango. Now he leads the charge. Off to the left, dribbles into the box. Fernandez Arango turns back to his right, faces the net, knocked away by Daryl Hale, and it's sent back to Flores. Saints have to start over on the attack here. Still in possession of the ball, though. Flores' ball rolling out to the right side is kicked out by Judson. Trying to set up Daniel Simon. It was out on the visiting side. So the Fighting Saints get to throw it in. Simon looks for help. Lobs it down into the box where it's quickly deflected away by Judson. Ball loose and cleared by the Eagles. Out across midfield. No attackers on this side of the field for the Eagles as the ball comes in. So the Saints play it back to Carson Hegland. Hegland boots it across midfield. At the midfield stripe, it's out of bounds. And it is going St. Francis' way. Thrown in bounds by Villa. Headed back by Judson. This is Wainstein. Rolling off to Daryl Hale. To the far sideline. Man down for Judson as the whistle blows. Got a free kick going the Eagles' way here. Got a yellow card. I didn't see who that was given to. Check on that as we go here. The free kick for Judson sent off towards the penalty box and cleared by the Fighting Saints defense. Leonardo Haro stepped up from the back line, headed it forward, tapped out of bounds by Cortez. 1-1 tie, still relatively early in the second half. Tossed in bounds. Simon pushes it down along the sideline. Capellan looking to work his way around Simon. Makes a nice move to his left and does get by Simon. He takes a shot deflected at the edge of the box. Sent out of bounds or towards the sideline by the Saints. Stays inbounds. That ball kind of died on its way out to the corner. Ended up going out the sideline. It looked off the initial kick from Daniel Simon as though that ball were going out the back line for a corner kick. We haven't seen a lot of those today. Each team had one corner kick in the first half. We have not seen any yet here in the second half. Judson goes to the bench, makes a substitution for the first time today. We're going to see the Judson bench. Christian Horstman, freshman from Santo Domingo, Spain, checks in for Daryl Hale. It's out of bounds, and that's going to be a corner kick. So there's our third corner kick of the game. I'm actually kind of surprised that Judson hasn't used their bench a little bit more. And Coach Rafa Heck has been pretty conservative with his substitutions today. Corner kick coming from Samuel Chavez. Chavez secured his 7th assist of the season earlier today on Judson's only goal. Sent in front of the net. There's a header that's wide of the net and out of bounds. Good setup from Chavez to Duarte there, but his header is just a few feet off to the left of the goal post, and Hegland sends it away on the goal kick. I was saying that I was a little surprised Judson hasn't used more substitutions. They've used a lot of players this year. Their starting lineup has been pretty consistent, but a lot of different guys have seen action at different times for Rafa Heck's side this year. That is out on Judson. So a goal kick coming up for the Fighting Saints with just over 31 minutes to play. Daryl Hale's the man who sat down when Christian Horstman came in. Hale was actually making his first start of the year today. Gabriel Trevisan, usually a starter for Judson. He got a red card in the first couple minutes of the game on Saturday against Cardinal Stritch, out today. There's the cross, headed over the net, out of bounds. Off the head of Weinstein. Not quite able to put it in. That's a tough one to stop, though, if you're a goalkeeper. Those quick deflections right in front of the net. It was a good pass. And really, there was nothing Hegland was going to be able to do about it. It came in a little bit too quickly. But fortunately for the Fighting Saints, it ended up being a little bit too high. The goalkeeper didn't have to worry about it. Judson's on the move once again. They've dominated possession the last 5 minutes or so. Here comes Roca. He's been quiet lately after playing really well in the first half. Roca cuts back to his left, tackled off the ball by Anders Santamarta, and a foul is called as Rafael Roca goes down. And a yellow card is given. So I thought the foul initially was on Santamarta, who kind of came in from behind Roca, but Roca was tripped up on two ends. I think it was Leonardo Haro who got the other side of him. It was either Haro or Pablo Alvarez. The yellow card's been given to one of the two of them. And see which one of them he was facing as he put it up there, but the clock stops on the yellow card, and now a free kick from just 5 yards outside the box. So 23 yards out, almost dead center here. Chavez takes the kick, deflected by Hegland. On the rebound, the Saints are able to come up with a stop initially. Now the shot from Capellain is too high. Poked over the net by Hegland, so we'll get a corner kick here. Big save by Carson Hegland on the free kick from Samuel Chavez. Saints weren't able to clear it on the rebound, but they were able to stall enough that Hegland was able to get back into position and make sure that Judson was not able to get a clean shot off on a second attempt. Here's the corner kick. Comes in high to the back post, headed towards the net, tapped and deflected away by the Saints again. Another rebound attempt for Judson. Stopped initially, the second one goes through. Third chance for Judson. The Saints just weren't able to get it out of there. And on the third shot, they finally push it in just to the left of the lunging Carson Hegland. Gabriel Bastos puts it in. And it's a 2-1 Judson lead. So the Saints were able to tie it up on Sergio Fernandez Arango's goal early in the half. And now Judson has come back and reclaimed their lead. Two to one with just under a half hour to play. Still plenty of time for St. Francis here. They've got to reclaim the edge they had early in this half, because prior to that goal, Judson had been putting a lot of pressure on the Fighting Saints really for the last 10 minutes or so. The Saints started off this second half strong on offense, but it's been all Judson lately. Saints looking to clear it out of harm's way again, and they do. Down the field to the far sideline. Judson keeps it in bounds. The battle for the ball at midfield. Possession Won by the Fighting Saints. Down the field, Bravo forces it out of bounds. Good job by Fernandez Arango to put the pressure on Bravo there to make sure that he was not able to control it cleanly before Judson had to just force it out. The throw-in goes to the Fighting Saints here. Actually, I got that wrong. The throw-in's going to go to Judson. So Fernandez Arango is the one who deflected it off of Bravo's kick. And it was his ball that went out. St. Francis back on the push in the middle of the field. Poked up into the air. More pressure from Fernandez Arango, and he's able to win that battle for it. He spins towards the box and is forced to the ground, forced off the ball. Good defense from Judson. Haro passes it back to Carson Hegland. Hegland unpressured, has plenty of time to take the kick that he wants to. Skies it across midfield. Foul is called on the Eagles. Anthony Durka hit from behind. So free kick for the Fighting Saints. They'll line it up and take it slow here. Anders Santa Marta has it set up. He'll take the kick. Santa Marta off to the right side. Centered to Durka. Durka chips it in front of the net. Fernandez Arango takes the shot, and he ties the score. So just after Judson takes the lead back, St. Francis comes up and evens it out once more. Lobbed into the box by Durka, and Sergio Fernandez Arango was in good position, almost looked like a basketball player backing down his opponent in the post there, just shielded him from the ball. The Judson defenders couldn't get out in front of him, and Fernandez Arango put himself in good position to take the shot. He tapped it in for his second goal of the night and his 9th of the season. He's had a big one today. He's been all over the place, not just scoring 2 goals, but he's been really impressive, really in all regards. Setting up chances for himself, winning a lot of 50-50 balls. He's been flying all over the field. A big goal from him right there. And with a lot of time left, almost 26 minutes, the Saints are still in position where they could come back and score one more and pick up the victory. They want to get at least 1 point out of today, but 3 would be huge. Down the sideline, headed backwards by Pablo Escobar and forced out of bounds by the Eagles. Judson has been one of the top programs in the conference over the last 5 years. Rafa Heck has done a great job of building up this program. Here's Fernandez Arango again in close, knocked off of his foot out of bounds. We'll get a corner kick here. The Eagles have been good this year as well. But this has actually been kind of a down year for them in comparison to some of their recent seasons. Coming in just 1 game above the 500 mark overall. Injured player for Judson is Adrian Bravo. Bravo will get an assist from the trainer here. This clock stops with just under 25 minutes to play in the second half. 2-2, we're tied. Judson scored first. They had a 1-0 advantage at halftime. St. Francis responded just a few minutes into the second half, about 4 minutes in. They got on the board for the first time thanks to Sergio Fernandez Arango, who made it a 1-1 game. And then 10 minutes after that, Judson struck again. They reclaimed the lead, made it 2-1, a short-lived lead. As the Fighting Saints came right back, Sergio Fernandez Arango again. In the span of just a couple of minutes. His second goal of the game tied it up 2-2, and that's where we sit right now with 24 minutes and some change remaining. Adrian Bravo is down along the back line and is back up now. That's always good to see for a player who's being tended to with an injury. He's walking off the field on his own with the trainer by his side, so he's out for the time being. We do have a corner kick coming up for the Fighting Saints. Clock is reset to 25 minutes. So 25 minutes even, still to play. Corner kick for St. Francis. It's their second of the game. Anders Santa Marta will take it. Santa Marta in front of the near post. Deflected close to the net, but Judson catches a break just wide there. Ball stays in bounds, and it's rolled out by the Eagles defense. So the Saints will put the pressure back on from the sideline here on a throw-in from Jesus Flores. Andres Villa lobs it in and knocked out of bounds by Escobar. Another corner kick coming up here for the Saints. Second corner kick in the last minute. They got a close call out of the last one. Santa Marta has it set up once again. Here's the kick right in front of the net. It is deflected outside, and the Saints unable to get a shot in. Now coming in deep from the back end. That shot deflected as Flores came up and tried to make something out of it. Carson Hegland pushes it away for the Fighting Saints. Far sideline. Judson takes over possession. Good deflection from Flores there. Down the sideline, possession goes back and forth between the two teams as Judson finally controls it on the defensive end. And they'll try to start to work it up the field. Jose Cruz, who came in for Bravo, who went out with that injury just a few moments ago, clears it for Judson, and the Saints knock it out right at midfield along the near side. On the attack, it is knocked off of Pedro Botello. Botello was the man who's trying to make a move. He put his hand up to shield himself, and that gives the free kick here to the Fighting Saints on the defensive side. Taken by Haro. Haro lofts it well across midfield. Deflected back by Andres Villa, but right to Pablo Escobar. Escobar for Judson. Shoots it off of Durka and out of bounds. Halfway through the second period. Action-packed second period. We saw just one goal in the first 45 minutes, and then in the next 15 minutes, or close to 15, a little bit over 15, we saw 3 goals scored here in the second half. And the opportunity for another right here for Judson. Working in close, deflected towards the back line, stays in bounds for the moment. Judson works it out. Escobar comes in. This is Duarte taking the shot. Duarte's shot deflected by the Fighting Saints defense. I think that was Haro who knocked it away. Judson still in control of possession as Horstman passes it behind him. And a ball sent in a long way out of bounds. Goal kick for the Fighting Saints. So a good little run there for Judson, but it comes to a close. So the Fighting Saints will clear it right here. Duarte for Judson. Rolls it out in front of himself. A sliding stop is made by Simon. Simon tosses it in along the sideline, and it's deflected out of bounds. This will be another throw-in for the Fighting Saints. Saints went 3 consecutive halves without scoring. They were shut out on Saturday, lost that game 1-0. And then today, scoreless through the first half as Judson's called for a foul. Free kick coming up for the Fighting Saints here. It's a team that overall has scored pretty well this year. Saints came in averaging better than 2.5 goals per game. So you didn't expect that scoring drought to last forever. There's a free kick into the box, headed loose in front of the net, and cleared by Judson. And it was Sergio Fernandez-Arango, the most likely candidate, who ended the drought with his 2 goals here in the second half. He's got 9 goals now on the season, which leads the team. Second most is Santos Contreras with 7 goals. Contreras got hit in the head on Saturday, left that game early, not playing today. Here's another run for Fernandez-Arango into the box, trying to get a shot off. A slide tackle to cut the ball loose by Gabriel Bastos. He knocks it out. Fernandez-Arango wants a foul called. Bastos is the man down right now in the box. Fernandez-Arango can't believe that he didn't earn his team a penalty kick. Bastos came in from behind, slid to take the ball away, and apparently made a nice play on the ball. Hard to tell from this far away whether or not he did get Fernandez-Arango there as well. But the ball was knocked out, according to the official, by Fernandez-Arango. So no penalty kick and no corner kick for the Fighting Saints. Contreras, though, with his 7 goals, is second on the team, and only 2 of those were in action goals. Foul called against Judson, and it goes as a yellow card. So free kick here for the Fighting Saints. Kick is taken into the box, headed off to the side. Saints loft it back in front of the net, and it is taken away by the Eagles. Pushed downfield to the sideline, kept inbounds by the Saints, and now it rolls out. Judson will get a throw. There's a clearance from Judson. So Contreras, with his 7 goals, has 5 penalty kicks. There's a foul on the Fighting Saints. And the clock's going to stop. Looks like we'll get another yellow card given here. Things have gotten a little bit chippier here in the second half. Santa Marta has been given a red card. Second yellow card for Anders Santa Marta, so he is out for the rest of the way. Tie game right now. And the Fighting Saints will have to play a man down the rest of the way. Two-two tie. It's going to be a little bit tougher for the Fighting Saints as they push for their win now. 11-10 the rest of the way as Anders Santa Marta is done for the rest of the day. Knocked out of bounds by the Fighting Saints. Judson will get a throw in here. It'll be tossed in by Pablo Escobar as he works his way downfield. Escobar taps it back to his left. Here's Duarte rolling it back into the midfield circle. Judson's looking for the win here, but they're certainly in a better position than St. Francis. Win's not as important to them as far as the standings are concerned. A draw would guarantee them a spot in the CCAC tournament. And now that they've got a one-man advantage, they can afford to be a little bit more selective with their shots as well. They can play defense knowing there probably will be opportunities on the offensive end as we go. The Saints will make a substitution here. Cameron Schroeder's been waiting over on the sideline to come in for the last 3 or 4 minutes. Finally a stoppage that'll allow him to do so. Schroeder checks in for Dominic Barwolik. Tapped out of bounds there by Leonardo Haro. Judson will get a throw in. Escobar tosses into Weinstein, and Weinstein sends it away. Schroeder taps it to his right and not able to get anything moving forward there. The ball had gotten away from Weinstein. It looked like it opened up a chance for the Fighting Saints, but Schroeder had 4 blue shirts in front of him and nobody in white and gold, so no real opportunity to start a run right there. The Saints are forced to slow things down. Ball goes to the back line and out of bounds. Roca makes a push for it, but comes up a little bit too slow. And Carson Hagelin will get the goal kick here with just under 16 minutes to play. Hagelin across midfield on the goal kick. It's headed right to that same spot, and a foul called on Judson. We saw a total of 9 fouls in the first half. Things have gotten a lot more aggressive here in the second. A lot more fouls called, more bookings. Here comes Andres Villa rolling it into the middle, a little bit behind Cameron Schroeder there, and Schroeder was not able to pull it in. Chance goes off the board for the Fighting Saints, as it looked like they had an opportunity to take a shot there. Does not work out that way. Fighting Saints make a move again right here. It's Schroeder again, all alone as far as St. Francis is concerned. Remember, playing a man down. So the defense able to come up with the stop there. Roca passes to his left. Here's Capeon making the move. Throw in for the Fighting Saints. Far side of the field. They're in their attacking half here. Saints have Schroeder in for the last few minutes. Cameron Schroeder has 3 goals this year. He's the man who's playing alongside Sergio Fernandez Arango, trying to get a goal here. Fernandez Arango has already scored twice today. 9 goals now on the season. And Anders Santamarta, who's been one of the top offensive players this year for the Fighting Saints as well, with 5 goals, has been ejected from the game. Picked up a red card just a few minutes back. Another long run for Schroeder, and he can't keep it in bounds. Tried to chase it down, but got there a half step late. So a throw in for Judson. Credit to the Fighting Saints so far since that red card. They've been able to, I think, win possession time, or at least close to it. Now they're trying to set up an attack. It's Schroeder and Fernandez Arango. Schroeder tries to roll it out to the middle. Nobody there. Taken away by Roca. Rafael Roca starts his attack. Intercepted by Durka. Roca's pass just completely cut off by Durka, but he was not able to start a run for the Fighting Saints. So Judson is on the move once again. Alvarez comes up with a stop. Pushed ahead. Schroeder on the run, but Bastos is out in front of him. And that allows Lucas Sala to step out of the net. Sala clears it for the Eagles. And now here comes Judson looking for the go-ahead goal. Starting to get late here in the second half. We approach the 12-minute mark. Intercepted by the Fighting Saints. Down along the far sideline, St. Francis making a run. There's the cross, and it's too far out ahead from Cortez, and it ends up rolling out the near side on the back of the play. Bastos, who scored the go-ahead goal last time for the Eagles, starts to work his way ahead, playing on the defensive end right now. Popped up in the air by Simon and out of bounds. This is Gabriel Bastos' second start of the season. Mentioned earlier about Daryl Hale, who was starting his first game of the year. Rafa Heck going with a slightly different lineup today than usual. This ball rolls into the box, and Hegland is able to dive on top of it, partially by necessity. We've seen some different players today for Judson. They've had some injuries throughout the year, as every team has. But a real rotating lineup. The Eagles have seen a lot of different guys find time on the field. That includes their goalkeeper today, Lucas Sala, who is playing just his second game of the year. Finished with a shutout his first time out. Today he's allowed 2 goals. Here's Duarte. Duarte forced off the ball. It's out of bounds off of St. Francis. Mateo Hesto has been the primary goalkeeper this year for Judson as they go to the bench once again. Cristobal Corral comes in. I hesitate to even say they've had a regular goalkeeper. Ohesto has started 9 games. Alan Martinez has started 5, and this is the second for Sala. So I referred to today as a different lineup than usual for Judson, but Rafa Heck is obviously very comfortable using a lot of different lineups. Saints get a throw in from deep in their defensive zone here. Under 10 minutes still to play in this game. Pushed ahead to midfield. Saints playing a man down. They have been for the last 8 minutes or so. Deflected to the far side, out of bounds. Haro pokes it into the air. Deflected to the near sideline, and Andres Villa knocks it out of bounds. Throw-in coming up here for Escobar. Sends it in very quickly to Corral. Cristobal Corral passes off to his left. This is Christian Horstman. Horstman takes the shot, and it's too high. Sails over the net, out of bounds. Fighting Saints head to their bench once again. Mariano Caturba is back in. Caturba started today. A rare start for him. In fact, it was his first of the year. It was senior night, one of the 4 seniors honored before the game today. Caturba's 6th career start, his 35th career game for the Fighting Saints. So on senior night, he got the start. Now he's back in there apparently to finish with 8 minutes to play. Foul called on the Fighting Saints. Free kick here for Judson. There's a run for the Saints, but Bastos is back on defense. He's hanging back right now with the one-man advantage on the field. Rafa Heck has gone with a little bit less of a forward-facing offense. He's been keeping one defender back consistently, which is not something we saw for the entirety of this match. Villa lobs it in. Bounces off the head of Diego Cortez, who tries to keep it alive to a teammate. Instead, Capian takes it. And Capian loses it. But it is forced back to Jose Cruz, who makes sure that Judson maintains possession. Cruz over to Horstman. Rolling it off to the near side. This is Duarte. Rafael Roca turns it upfield, pushed into the box. Weinstein goes for it, rolls towards the back of the net and in for Weinstein, the go-ahead goal with 6:54 on the clock. Judson takes a 3-2 lead. Perfectly set up by Weinstein. Hegland came out, tried to make a sliding stop, but Weinstein was able to roll it just past him. And it was moving, it seemed, in slow motion. The St. Francis defenders watched it go, and they just were powerless to stop it. Nobody could get there in time. And it trickled across that back line and in to put Judson on top for the third time today. Twice before they've led, and both times the Fighting Saints were able to come back and tie it up. It's going to be a little bit harder now, not only because there's less than 7 minutes to play in this match, but because they are down one as well. It's down one man. Obviously they're down by 1 goal, but playing 11 on 10 right now. That's the issue. The bigger issue is being down by 1 goal, but that's a given at this stage. There's a sliding stop by Haro. Takes possession back for St. Francis, but Rafael Roca takes it away from Anthony Durka. Well defended by Roca. Roca scored the first goal of the game. Weinstein now puts his name on the stat sheet as well as the Saints try to race that one up on Lucas Sala, but Sala's able to get it away. 5th goal of the season for Martin Weinstein, the Argentinian sophomore. Getting very late here. Judson is happy to let that clock run. They're taking their time on these throw-ins. Pablo Escobar lines it up, tosses in quickly. Deflected out by the Fighting Saints. And again, Escobar will take his time before the quick motion to toss it in. Weinstein down in the corner, keeps it in bounds. There's the clearance from the Saints. Headed towards Fernandez Arango. He taps it around the first defender, but the second man up, Roca comes up with a stop. Here's Roca to the outside. Worked ahead, Chavez. And out of bounds off the Eagles. Fighting Saints throw it in along the far sideline. Working much more quickly, of course, than Judson is, out of necessity. It's urgent now for the Fighting Saints with less than 4.5 minutes to play to get this goal. Not really playing for the victory anymore, but just trying to get that 1 goal and earn a draw. Here's Katurba. Katurba's pass intercepted. On the near side of the field, it's Escobar rolling it right back to the center, and Horstman. Horstman's pass intercepted. Sala steps up and knocks that off the foot of Diego Cortez, who made a nice little run there. Sala got to the spot before Cortez could take a shot. Saints fight for possession once again, but it is maintained by Judson. Horstman circles around a couple of defenders. Horstman forces it ahead, and Leonardo Haro steps in, knocks it away to the sideline and out of bounds. Throw-in coming up for the Fighting Saints. Dominic Barwolik is in there with Diego Cortez as it's rolled back to Carson Hegland. Hegland pushes downfield to Anthony Durka. Durka knocks it off to Sergio Fernandez Arango, and Fernandez Arango is fouled. So under 3 minutes to play. This will probably be one of the last really good chances for the Fighting Saints. They are going to get a free kick here from just over 30 yards out, slightly to the left of the net. Anders Santamarta is the guy who usually takes these kicks. He was expelled on a red card earlier. So it'll be Jesus Flores stepping up for the kick here. Here it comes from Flores in front of the net. Sala steps up, punches it away. Rolls back to Fernandez Arango, takes a step to his left. His shot deflected back. Coming in from the backside, another deflection on a shot from Katurba. And now on the counterattack. It's a big run for Judson. Chavez races his way in. Chavez passes to Capian, and he can't get a shot off as Hegland tracked him down. Kept it in bounds, though. Capian now does shoot, but right at Carson Hegland, who makes the save. Good play by Hegland to prevent the initial shot. It was essentially 2-on-1. And amazing that Judson couldn't even get a shot off, let alone score a goal, because it looked awfully good for them at the start of that run, and that would have put it away for sure. As it stands, Saints still have 90 seconds to play for the draw here. They get a free kick from midfield. Hegland steps up to take the kick, and that allows the 9 other players all to be on the receiving end of this. Hegland's kick soars into the box, headed back off to the side. Katurba comes in at the back end of the play, pops it up in front of the net, punched by Sala, the ball loose, and that shot goes out of bounds. Now Sala is a little upset with Sergio Fernandez Arango. There was certainly some contact there. The clock stops. The players are separated. Fernandez Arango walked away from it, but Sala's still unhappy, so play is halted for just a moment. We're in the final minute here, and now back underway as Judson tries to put it away once and for all. Into the box, a good run, a nice save by Hegland. Ball loose in front of the net and cleared by St. Francis. Hegland goes back into the goal. Fighting Saints, though, still very short on time. They need to take the ball away here, give themselves a chance for one more run at the equalizer. Pushed forward and taken away by Roca. Rafael Roca trying to salt this one away right now. Taps it forward. Now the ball sent downfield by the Fighting Saints. 17 seconds left. Judson takes it back. Katurba pushes it for the sideline, but taken away by the Eagles once again. This is Weinstein with under 10 seconds to play. Down the sideline, and the Saints are going to run out of time here. One last cross from Escobar, and that'll do it. Judson comes away with a 3-2 victory, and an impressive performance today from the Eagles. They led twice, lost both of those leads, and then came back and won it again the third time around as they put St. Francis away by a final score of 3-2. Very tough loss for the Fighting Saints in a game that was very close to must win in terms of the way the standings look right now if they want their season to extend beyond Saturday. And they'll get one more chance now this weekend against Cardinal Stritch, depending on the result of Cardinal Stritch against St. Xavier earlier today. A win on Saturday may still get their season to go on, but back-to-back one-goal losses this week. A difficult way for the Fighting Saints to end their home season of 2022. This one was back and forth. Judson had a one-goal lead. It was 1-0 at halftime, thanks to an early score from Rafael Roca. And then the Saints were able to tie it up. Sergio Fernandez Arango scored the first of his 2 goals early in the second half. About 10 minutes later, Judson struck again. This time it was Gabriel Bastos scoring to make it 2-1. Fernandez Arango struck again just after that, waited only a couple minutes, and was able to tie it up 2-2. And it remained 2-2 for almost the rest of the way. But Anders Santamarta was sent off with a red card, and that kind of changed the tenor of the game a little bit. At that point, the Saints played a man down the rest of the way, and Judson was able to control possession. In doing so, they got a good chance to score with just under 7 minutes to play, and they put in the final goal of the game. Martin Weinstein in the 84th minute off the assist from Rafael Roca, was able to make it a 3-2 Judson lead, and that is how it ended. 3-2 the final score. Judson improves their record on the season to 2 games above 500. They're 7, 5, and 4, whereas the Saints fall to 2 games below 500. They are 6, 8, and 2. More importantly for St. Francis, now 4, 6, and 1 in conference. They will finish below 500 in conference play. Judson improves to 6, 2, and 3 in conference. So the Eagles, who went 8 straight games to begin the year without a win, follow that up with a 6-match winning streak, do not fall into another losing streak, as they dropped their first game in almost a month on Saturday and then came back with the win today. Final totals: the Saints were outshot by Judson 21-7. 8 shots on goal for the Eagles, 6 shots on goal for the Fighting Saints. Big game for Sergio Fernandez-Arango. 9 total shots for the sophomore, 2 goals. But it wasn't enough for the Fighting Saints as they fall by a final score of 3-2. Thanks for tuning in to today's matchup, our final broadcast of the season for the Fighting Saints here as they go down to Judson 3-2. We will have one more soccer match on the airwaves this year. Tomorrow will be the women's matchup between St. Francis and Judson. That's a 7 o'clock start time tomorrow night. Thanks for tuning in to today. Judson defeats St. Francis by a final score of 3-2. Until next time, for the entire team here at the University of St. Francis, this is Terry Bonadonna signing off. Have a good night.